The biggest factor in the 2026 midterm elections is Donald Trump. And here's a little secret. No one knows what Donald Trump's going to do in the 2026 midterm elections, including Republicans who are on the ballot. I want to read you something from the Washington Post to set it up, and then I want to talk more broadly about the midterms and why I think they're going to end poorly for the Republican Party. All right, so this is the Washington Post headline: Trump leaves Republicans guessing on midterms plans as outlook darkens. Here's the first couple of paragraphs. Republicans looking to the White House to lead in the face of the party's dimming prospects for November's midterms are facing a crucial hangup: the president. The party's flagship campaign committee and super PACs have no indication of how President Donald Trump will deploy his $300 million plus war chest because he has not approved a spending plan. Republican donors are funding expensive Senate primaries in Texas and Georgia because Trump has not cleared the field with his endorsement, or in the case of Louisiana, endorsed a challenger to the incumbent Republican. People who have spoken with Trump about these obstacles said he at times can sound detached and non-committal about his plans for spending and endorsements. One person close to the White House said some days the president seems not to care. Ouch. Okay, so I want to tell you why that shouldn't surprise you, why that's totally accurate, and what the midterms have sort of in store, we think, for both parties. Before I do that, very quick pitch: subscribe to my channel. I'm independent, I'm authentic, and I'm here every single day making videos breaking down the biggest news in politics for you. So hit that subscribe button. Okay, so I have long said two things that I think are important to remember here. Thing one: Donald Trump is not hugely strategic. He kind of like takes it day by day. He's not a long-term planner. He's not playing three-dimensional chess. That's point one. Point two: Donald Trump cares in order about the following things. Donald Trump, number one. Donald Trump, number two. Donald Trump, number three. Everything else, including the Republican Party, may be number four, although you could put Donald Trump number four. Okay, so he is focused on what? His legacy, his last almost 3 years in office, what it's going to look like, what he can build, the Trump arch, what he can put his name on, the Trump Kennedy Center, those sorts of things, what he can do in terms of foreign policy, maybe win the Nobel Peace Prize by helping to end the Ukraine-Russia war. He's focused on that stuff. He just isn't all that focused on the Republican Party and its midterm prospects. Remember, Donald Trump was not a Republican, right? He's a Democrat. He's an independent. He became a Republican basically to run for president in 2016. So his connection to sort of the broader party is very, very loose and always has been. He's the head of the party because he's the president of the United States, but his care for the party is just not that high and has never been that high. So let's talk about the midterms. He's already kind of setting the stage to blame history or blame the Republican Party other than him if they lose, because this is what he said in Iowa late last month. Even if it's a Democrat or Republican, whoever wins the presidency has a hard time with the midterms. It's crazy. Okay, he said that in Iowa. Now, he is right. Midterm elections tend to function as a referendum on the president. And when that president is not particularly popular, like Donald Trump is right now, that really doesn't work well for his party. So if you have a president under 50% approval, which Donald Trump is in the low 40s at this point, 41 and a half, 42, the average seat loss in the House in a midterm election, when that's the case, is 32 seats. Now, remember, Republicans have a 1-seat majority right now in the House. They'll probably wind up with like a 3-seat majority by the time the elections happen, but 32 seats. Now, I don't know that Democrats pick up all those seats, because the truth of the matter is the seats are pretty well sorted at this point. There aren't a lot of Republicans in very Democratic districts for Democrats to easily pick up, but it suggests to me that the math is against him. Couple other things. There have already been 51 retirements in the House, 51, which is pacing ahead of average of where we are at this point in the 2-year cycle. 30 of those are Republicans. Only 21 of those are Democrats, right? So that just more opportunity, open seats without incumbents have more opportunity historically to flip sides. So you have 30 Republican retirements, only 21 Democratic retirements. Then there is the fact that in special elections for the House and for state House and state Senate in 2025 and very early 2026, the average, you heard me, average Democratic overperformance. So the candidate running in those races did this much better than Kamala Harris in that district in 2024. The average is 16 points. Now, I don't think that every Democrat's going to run 16 points ahead of Kamala Harris in November, but let's say they run 8 or even 6 points ahead of Kamala Harris. That puts a whole lot of districts and states in play for the Democratic Party. What could turn things? What is Donald Trump banking on? Number one, as that Washington Post story notes, they have a huge amount of money, $300 million sitting in various pro-Trump super PACs that can be spent on the election. You always want to have more money than less money in a race. I'm not sure you can spend your way out of the national sort of wind blowing, but maybe you can mitigate it. You can make sure you lose less than you might otherwise. I think the other thing other than money that Trump, if you asked him, like, why are you going to win the midterms? He would say the economy, that things are going to turn around in the next 6 months, that people are going to feel it in real ways. And that will justify his claim from 2024 that he was going to turn the economy around, make things more affordable. How would it turn around? What do you need to watch? Number one, the One Big Beautiful Bill goes into effect this year. You will see a bunch of tax refunds. Regular folks will be getting more, we think, back this, April, May, June, July than normal. That's one. Number two, his preferred Fed chairman will be put in as the head of the Federal Reserve in May. In theory, that should mean that Fed chairman will give Trump what he wants, which is cuts in interest rates, easier to borrow, help spur the economy. Last thing, the One Big Beautiful Bill did a lot of things, but one of the things it did was really chop regulations on corporations. So Trump, I think, is hoping that corporations feel less, they're more unbidden, they can spend money, they can invest, and that will help drive the economy. The problem that they have right now, it's February, but right now is that public perception of the state of the economy is pretty dismal. So a Pew poll, great pollster, a Pew poll came out last week. 72%, so almost 3 in 4 people, 72% of people said the economy is either fair or poor right now. So 3/4 of people think the economy is either fair or poor right now. Of that, they asked people, overall, do you think the economy is going to get worse over the next year, get better over the next year, stay the same over the next year? 38% said get worse. 31% said it will get better. 30% said it will stay the same. So not only are people pessimistic right now about the state of the economy, they are pessimistic about where the economy is going to go over the next year. As I said earlier, Donald Trump only cares about this to the extent that it impacts his legacy, right? When he does something that benefits the Republican Party, it's because it benefits him and it happens to also dovetail with something that benefits the Republican Party. That is the best thing Republicans have to hope happens, is that he feels like, okay, if we really get walloped in the midterms, my legacy is going to take a hit, and therefore I'm going to really focus on this. I don't know that he will, though. I just always come back to, there's not a grand strategy here. There never really is with him. He just says and does stuff, whether it's the racist post about the Obamas, the commentary about Bad Bunny. It's all just, he just throws stuff at the wall. And then number two, and this is the most important thing, if you take nothing else from this video, take this. He is not someone who has ever really felt particularly tied to or cared about the broader Republican Party. What does the Republican Party look like after Donald Trump, or even during Donald Trump? He's going to be in office until the end of 2028, no matter what. I'm not sure he cares that much, unless he becomes convinced that losing the House and maybe the Senate hurts his legacy in those final 2 years. All right, that's it for me. As always, I ask you to do a few things. 1, subscribe if you haven't. Independent, authentic, and here every day. 2, like and comment on this particular video. Helps me with the YouTube algorithm. 3, be an evangelist for me. Tell a few people about what I'm building here, why you think it matters. Lastly, if you are interested in more from me, look at the membership tab on my channel. There's something called the Diamond Club. The Diamond Club basically means you get all of the videos you get as just a regular old subscriber, plus at least 2 more videos a week. You get my weekly Monday, sometimes Tuesday, video podcast with Chuck Todd. We talked today for about an hour and 15 minutes. It posted on Monday, February 9th. You also, at the end of every week, get my video on who, person, place, or thing had the worst week in Washington. In between those 2 videos, ideally you'll get 1 or 2 more. This week, I've already conducted an interview with Mallory McMorrow, who's running for the Senate in Michigan. That will go up. Got a lot of other cool stuff planned. So if you're interested in a little bit more and you want to support independent journalism like I am trying to build, check out that membership tier on the Diamond Club. I appreciate you. Take care.